no, it's not a one-off. And people do keep making those comparisons to Watergate for obvious reasons, of course, because it wasn't the initial incident, it was the cover-up and the lies that followed where the real damage was done. I can give you a catalogue of controversy and malfeasance surrounding the BBC. Let's have a look at some of the issues on the roll call of journalistic doom at the BBC. And do you know what? Panorama goes in the dock on a number of occasions. There's a lot of examples of Panorama. Newsnight as well, Panorama in the dock. Maggie's militant tendency. This was about extremists in the Conservative Party back in 1984. That resulted in 2 Conservative MPs being awarded tens of thousands of pounds in compensation because they simply made stuff up. Neil Hamilton, interestingly, was one of those MPs. Bob Geldof and the African weapons story, all the money being raised for life is going into weapons. It was absolute balderdash, false claims in their news. Remember the editing of the Queen documentary? An inside story. A production company got the inside scoop on following the Queen around, and they put a trail out for it, and the trail actually showed the Queen storming out of a photo session, except she didn't. They just re-edited it to make it look as if she did. The editing of the miners' strike footage, again back in the 80s, so that it showed a completely different narrative for the one that was actually going on. Furthermore, up to date, 2008, fake footage of child labour in Bangalore. Then there was the Lord McAlpine story. The Director General had to resign over that. Remember when he was named by, it was Sally Burko, wasn't it, who ended up libelling McAlpine back. And then that story was discussed with absolutely no recourse for Lord McAlpine to come on and defend himself. The Director General had to walk the plank over that one, although they did give him £1.3 million in the process. Emily Maitlis and her countless party political broadcasts. There was that as recent as last year, the Panorama about the NHS and PPE. Remember when a series of Labour activists were used as contributors without a single reference to their Labour allegiance? I remember watching this thinking, hang on, all these people have been on my show quite regularly. There's Sonia Adesera, there's various other characters in the Labour story. I thought, that's weird. Why are they talking to all these guys? They're all Labour people. Not a reference to that. Bad day again. That was Panorama, the death of David Kelly and the dodgy dossier. The Cliff Richard debacle, when the BBC decided to imitate a Yankee cable network and sent up the chopper for a raid on Cliff Richard's house. They colluded with the local constabulary in the process. The whole story was invented. It was nonsense. There was nothing to see here. Why were the BBC even going there? And even Blue Peter, in 2007, they ran a competition to name the new Blue Peter cat. All right, listen to this. Viewers chose the name Cookie. They wanted the name Cookie, and they added up all the votes, and Cookie it was. And all the kids who voted Cookie were obviously hoping theirs would be selected, because that's how many got the right amount of votes. Cookie. Cookie, the new Blue Peter cat. 2007. Hello, they all said. Welcome to Blue Peter. And meet our new cat, Socks. Sorry? Socks. It's Cookie. Socks. It's meant to be called Cookie. More kids voted for Cookie. You've called it Socks. They rigged a cat ballot on Blue Peter. You know, that cat will always be Cookie to me. Boy, have they got questions to answer over there at the BBC. So what is the future? What should that future look like? 0344 499 1000. We have been in this territory many times. We've discussed what we think the future of the BBC should be. Should it be permed back? Should it just be got rid of altogether? Can you merge it with something? Can you dilute the licence, abolish the licence? All of these various areas, and we can get excited and we can, all have our own view. Realistically, what next for the BBC? Because now they can't go back off this. And the Bashir thing might have happened 25 years ago, but of course it's taken a quarter of a century to get the truth out there. And when you look at how that's done, I mean, it's so dirty. It is so filthy. Here's a woman already on the verge of a breakdown. Here's a woman who doesn't know who the heck is her friend and who is her enemy. And sometimes it turns out that the people she thought were her friends and staff members were actually the enemy. How did she know that? Martin Bashir told her so. Yeah, he took a very fragile woman who was already very much on the edge, difficulties in her marriage, trying to raise 2 kids, keeping up a smile, attempting to travel around, pressing the flesh, meeting people. He took that woman as his victim, groomed her. Bashir groomed the princess with counterfeit documentation, wicked lies, inventions and hyperbole, with a straight face, and told her this is how bad it is. Could you imagine? Just think about that for a second. Just think about that. That is bad enough. The fact that this man is representing the BBC and delivering a global scoop to get to the truth of a story, now that just kind of compounds the whole thing into another territory. And then, when there is suspicion something has gone wrong, the ranks are closed, the whole place decides, nothing to see here, Gov. We did a little investigation. No, Mr. Bashir's fine. He's gone to work in America, comes back a few years later. Let's give him an even bigger job as head of religion at the corporation. That involves ethics, by the way, that department. You can't make this guff up, I'm telling you. 0344 499 1000. So there is an institutional problem journalistically with the BBC. Where does it go next? What do we do with it next? Do you want to abolish it? Throw it in that bin that we mentioned at the beginning? Or is there a way to kind of make this work? Could you stream it down in some shape or form? What's next after this for the BBC? Don't be thinking this is tabloid tittle-tattle. Don't be thinking this is irrelevant. It's not. It's not irrelevant, and it follows a long line of... I know other news organisations can make mistakes and errors as well. A lot of what I see here at the BBC seems to be that it comes either from a political angle, some of the faux pas via Newsnight and Panorama. There's clearly something going on that is politically driven. But I think it's the closing of the ranks afterwards. It's the nothing to see here until the final moment, often paying and spending hundreds of thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money to defend something or to argue something or to overturn something.